Hello Pack, my name is Vahlkor and welcome to Dauntless. Now for this episode I wanted to talk about a little bit on the hammer. I wanted to actually give you guys my thoughts on the hammer and kind of like, give you my full thoughts and an overview of the weapon. This is not a tutorial by any means. I just wanted to make sure to play the weapon a lot, make sure to know what I want to say and just say it to you guys. But before we get into that guys, make sure to check out the links in the description where you can find my Twitter, our Discord channel, and become part of the Wolfpack. So in the meantime, let's just jump into it. Alright, so the hammer is actually one of the heavy hitter weapons that we got in Dauntless. They are slower but more powerful weapons than the sword and chain blades with every single hit. So the hammer actually seems to be a little bit different weapon than the axe and the other weapons just because of the fact that it doesn't have as many combos available to you, although it makes it seem a little bit simple in the surface. However, that's not really the case. The case is that this weapon requires a very good understanding of the timing of weapons and a very good understanding of what to do, which in turn will translate to knowing the behemoth and understanding how the behemoth interacts. Like if you are fighting a shrike, you know that after the shrike it's gonna fly and you knock him down, it's gonna have a wind-up time very long and you can actually do a full successful combo. But if not, if you're actually attacking a monster on an opening, you might not have the amount of time required to actually finish the combo, so you'll need to know to have a sense of the timing of what your combos do and how to get out of them, or you know, how to get the most out of the weapon. In terms of combos, we have 3 combos available to us, and these ones, like I said, they seem to be a little bit simple because they all come from the left mouse button input, but what actually changes is the way you go into the combos. For the first one, we have horizontal hammers. This one is a little bit long of a combo. Whenever you do this, you have to be stationary, or you have, well, not stationary, but you have to kind of be in place where you're not hitting W on your keyboard to move forward, so that you're actually swinging your hammers horizontally, and you can do this up to 3 times, finishing this combo. Like I said, this combo is one of the longer ones. It actually takes a long time to complete, but it's probably one of your highest damage dealers. From that, we jump to the lunging strike, which is basically the same. You just have to do the left click 3 times in a consecutive manner. However, you have to be pushing forward on your keyboard, pushing W. That way, instead of going horizontally, you're gonna be swinging your hammer vertically. Now, when you swing your hammer vertically, makes it seem like it can reach a little bit over the actual, you know, a little bit higher targets. However, it's not really as effective in terms of, you have to be more precise. You have to like move your camera into the actual combat, and that way you can actually hit in front of you. So it makes like the hitbox or the hit detection gonna be a little bit smaller than the actual horizontal combos. And lastly, we have the repeating uppercut. I think repeating uppercut is the actual name. It's where you attack with a stationary horizontal strike, and after that you push forward on your keyboard and then you start attacking again, and it'll do like this, kind of like an uppercut motion, and it goes from both sides. This one, they say is a little bit less damage. I saw this in Arex's video that it does a little bit less damage, but it's a little bit faster than the other combos, so you could actually go into the finisher move, which I'm going to get into it in a second, which all the combos can. And then it's worth noting that in every single combo you can actually get away, you can actually roll away, transition to a roll, utilizing your iframes essentially to avoid attacks. So moving from the combos, we have the actual right clicks. The right clicks are your shots. You have 4 shots in your hammer, and the way they work is that every time you press your right click, you will shoot once. Now this could be used for a couple different things. One is to apply the element debuff to your enemy, to your behemoth. The other one is to actually use it as a finisher for every single one of the combos. Once you finish the 3rd attack, you go ahead and you click once on your right click, and it will basically spread the entire remaining of shots you have in your hammer at once, which can cause a big explosion. Now this explosion seems to be very useful to actually deal a lot of damage, and especially to break parts. Now I'm not sure it's because of the nature of the hammer. It seems that you do blunt damage and you can actually break parts faster, but having the ability to actually finish your combos and using that opportunity to break parts seems to be where you get the most value of this, but it's a little bit hard to master because of the timing it takes. Another thing is that once you use your 4 shots, or once you use your finisher move, you'll have to reload your hammer if you want to shoot again. And the way you do that is by pressing Q. Q is not an attack ability in this one either. Q is going to be your reload mechanic essentially, and it's very cool because they have this little if you guys play Gears of War, you guys know what an active reload is, and they essentially have the same thing. When you press Q once, you will see this little bar that comes into the screen, and the little bar has a little marker in the middle, like a little square or rectangle, I guess. And then once your slider goes into that square, if you press Q again, you actually reload faster, and that's going to make you mobile because you actually be reloading while you're moving. But if you miss this, it's gonna go red, and then you're gonna be stuck in place reloading your ammo, which obviously is gonna be bad for you because if you're being targeted, you're gonna get hit. This also comes with a little mechanic where you have to make sure to know how many shots you have in your hammer before performing this action, or before trying to perform this action, because if you're empty, you're basically not gonna shoot, you're gonna be wasting an opportunity. So if you have the opportunity to do your 3 strikes and you have more, like if you have a little bit more time, you should definitely have ammo in your hammer to shoot. So it's gonna be very good for you to actually reload after you use all your shots and try to get the active reloads done. Now, another cool mechanic is that you can actually use this shot as an engagement tool. You can actually go running. If you have your hammer on cheat, you can go running and you can go right click while you're pressing shift, and it's gonna basically launch you using one of your shots in your hammer, and you can either transition to a double jump, to a double dash with that to escape, or to, you know, cover some ground, or just do one shot and then switch to your hammer strike, which is like it's an aerial strike, I guess, where it launches through with the shot and then uses an attack into the behemoth or into whatever, you know, the zone you're doing, and it's gonna deal elemental damage as well, which can really be very fun. I really like the ability to jump in and out of combat with the hammer, because the first time I saw the hammers, I didn't really think it was gonna be that fun. I've never been a fan of hammers, but I have to say this is the first time I really enjoyed a hammer weapon. Now we also have to talk about the skill ceiling. The skill ceiling for the hammer, in my opinion, is a very high skill ceiling, because you have to, not because the weapon itself might be complicated, but the actual sense, developing the sense of timing and opportunity in every single situation can be a little bit weird. It can feel a little bit off, but honestly, it once you get used to the openings, and once you get used to creating openings with the hammer, you're basically good with this weapon. It's just the ability to understand the fight, to understand the enemy behemoth's mechanic. Because if you're fighting a behemoth that is a little bit faster, I had the most problems fighting a Drast for some reason. I can't seem to get the timing right on how to engage the Drast without being hit with the hammer, which I should probably do, because the Drast is not really a hard fight. The Drast is not really one of the monsters that gives me trouble, but with the hammer in particular it did, and I think it's because of the nature of the weapon being so slow and being you know, getting the timing off. You know, the Drast doesn't really have that many tails. It can be a little bit difficult to actually time your combos right. So often I found myself not being able to complete a combo with this finisher Elemental Blast and just having 1 or 2 hits and then having to roll out. So safe to say that to master this weapon, you need to have very good sense of timing, very good sense of the actual fight itself. Now my personal playstyle for this weapon is, I really like creating openings. I really like this weapon to be like in the front lines, which I think is supposed to be, not because we're tanks, because we're not tanks in this game, but because of the fight, like in a fight like the Embermane, for example, the hammer is probably the easiest weapon to get the Embermane to be knocked off, and the reason being is that you have this shotgun spread, and this shotgun spread, it can be used instead of a finisher move. It could be used to, whenever you see the Embermane coming in, you just set up and shoot in its face, and that thing goes flying. So I really had a lot of fun playing this weapon against the Embermane and against the Shrikes as well, but I only see this as a gimmick. Like, I don't think this weapon will be my personal taste, although it is definitely a very fun weapon to use. It's by far one of the funnest weapons to use and one of the funnest weapons to actually master. But it's safe to say that I see this weapon as situational, and another thing that I really like about this weapon is that whenever I'm fighting a behemoth and I need to break its head, for example, I really like to use this weapon because for some reason, I can't really understand why, it seems that the actual hammer allows you to break parts faster. It could be because it's a blunt damage weapon, so it allows you to break things. Although you can't cut tails, I mean, it doesn't make sense to cut tails with a blunt weapon, but safe to say that it really feels fun, it really feels unique, and it really feels like this hammer is different than any other hammers I've seen before in any other games. And I'm not talking only Monster Hunter, I'm talking all the games that have hammers in them. I'm gonna be continuing to play with the hammer a little bit because I think I still need to learn a lot with the hammer. However, I need to move on with another weapon because I want to make sure that you guys get all 4 weapons from my point of view. I know that you guys enjoy these videos because the actual views are good. I really enjoy this, and you guys' feedback is very awesome. So if you guys think that I do something wrong with the weapon, let me know in the comment section below because I am learning as I go, and I hope that you guys are learning too, and I hope that you guys get a little bit of clarity from these videos. And like I said, these are not tutorials. Like I said, these are just my point of views and my thoughts on the weapons and what do I think about them. So hopefully you guys enjoy these. I'm looking forward to play with the axe next. Now I did play a little bit with the axe early on, but I didn't give it much time. I'm really looking forward to wrap up this like weapon videos, and hopefully the axe is gonna be all that I want and more. I know the axe is intimidating, and I really like the way they look, so hopefully it's gonna be good. Hopefully you guys enjoy and look forward for that one too. But for now guys, hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Remember to go check out the links in the description to join the Discord channel, subscribe to the channel, and put notifications on so you know when the next videos go live. As always guys, I've been Vahlkor, and I'll see you next time.